Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Money Matters, because as you know, money does matter. Now, got a bit of a treat for you today because I've got a guest. He's a very special guest. He's a brand new property investor just completing his first project. So I want him to talk to you about, the ins and outs, why is he doing it, the numbers and all that stuff. So let's get ready to meet him because here he is. Let's go.
Hi, I'm Jude Smith. I'm a new property investor and the refurbishment is about to be finished on Friday. In this edition of Money Matters, I'm going to take you through the numbers, but first I want to tell you about myself a little bit. My main interests are gaming, playing rugby and watching rugby, and when I'm older I want to become a property investor. Oh hang on, I already am a property investor. So just something else to let you know about me. I'm 12, I'm a 12-year-old. And if a 12-year-old can invest in property, do you think you can too? I'm half Scottish and half Hungarian. Our granny left the family some money and we decided to use it on property. So here's the plan. We're taking it in turns. I got 2 brothers and 3 sisters and I've gone first. And next, after I got all the money out of this project, it's Ben's turn, my brother. I will introduce you to Ben right at the end of the video. So I got 3 family homes. I got 1 in Scotland, 1 in the south of France where I am right now, and I have 1 in Doncaster, and that's where the project's happening. There's a few things you need to know to be a property investor, but it really is just child's play. So I'm going to take you to the whiteboard and show you some numbers, but first I'm going to show you what you even need to do to buy a property. There's 3 areas where you add value. The first is where you buy it. I could get this property for £50,000, but is that a good price or a bad price? That all depends on comps, comparable. So I had to learn how to check out prices in the local area. Next, I need to know how much it would cost to do the refurb. When I first saw it with my dad, he had some ideas and I had some different ones as well. So we ended up ignoring his plan and doing my plan. Dad's idea was to turn it into a 3-bedroom house. My plan, after seeing it and talking to the team, was to turn it into a 4-bedroom house. Of course, that would mean I'd be spending more than Dad would spend, but the house would be more valuable at the end. So how did I create the extra bedroom? So I converted the cellars into an underground, huge bedroom. I really liked the idea of it, and if I lived there, I'd really like that room. So let's go to the whiteboard.
So, are you liking it so far? What do you think of him? Is he a decent property investor? I've got a big problem though. He's spending £20,000 more than I would spend. How do you justify that? That's a crazy amount of extra money. What are you doing?
The estate agent said that if I put 20,000 in, there'll be a bigger payout at the end.
What? I can't believe it. Let's go and check with an estate agent. Because I think that if I'd have done my way, it would have been worth minimum 105, 110. Let's go check out. Let's fly back over to the UK like magic and see what they think it's going to value up, because the valuation is next week, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
Hi, my name is Claire and I am the Portfolio Manager for Gap Investments. It's my job to assist our project manager in refurbing the projects that we take on. So in the case of the Beckett Road project, we bought this property for £50,000. We have done an extensive refurbishment on the property. So that includes a new bathroom suite, we've done a new kitchen, and we've also done tanking to the cellar room to make it a 4th bedroom. So now we have transformed this tired looking terraced house into a beautiful 4-bedroomed family home with rear parking, access to the rear as well, which it didn't have before. And it's really, really exciting because after spending approximately £42,000 on the refurbishment, we're hoping that this will value up to somewhere in the region of £140,000. The valuation is due to be carried out in the next couple of weeks. So we're hopefully going to get that figure when that valuation comes in. Also, we have just put it live on the rental market and we are hoping to achieve about £850 per calendar month. So that would be a very, very good income for Jude and his property.
First up, here's the street address and it's right in the middle of Doncaster. As well as being a nice house, it has a nice garden at the front and most importantly at the back, it has a parking spot for 1 car. First, the purchase price. So I'm spending money, I'm going to put that in red. When I'm getting it back, I'm putting that in black. So I bought this for a limited company using my granny's money. Because I'm 12, a 12-year-old can't get a mortgage obviously, but a company can. It is very important that you learn about company structure and tax before you even start. And after we've done the numbers, I want to talk to you about what my schoolmates think about this. So do you remember when I was talking about comps? Well, now that it's going to be refurbished, I think it's going to be worth around £140,000. Okay, so the refurb costed £42,000, and this was to turn a disgusting 2-bed into a really nice 4-bed. And for the project, I needed to choose the kitchen, what floor, what type of colour of floor even. Including the refurb, I've also put it's all the money I've used on it, including solicitors and all that other stuff, into the refurb. Because I want to keep this dead simple for all the other 12-year-olds that want to actually buy a house. Or even older people, I don't know. So let's add it up. And just to explain, this is a property strategy called buy, refurbish and mortgage. So you may think this is incredible that 12-year-olds doing this, but Becky, my oldest sister, did this at 23. Jack, my oldest brother, did it at 20. Ben, my middle brother, did it at 21. Why are we buying houses at such young ages? It could have something to do with what my mum and dad did, which is property investment. Do you remember when I told you earlier there's 3 ways to add value? First was the price you actually buy it for, and this was a great value property. Second is what you actually do to it, like refurbishment after you bought it. And in my case, I'm changing it from a disgusting 2-bed to a beautiful 4-bed, which is obviously going to be worth more. And what I'm doing is even better than my dad would have done. Now I need to teach you a little bit about mortgages. The mortgage is a percentage of the property's value. The expected value is 140,000, but we'll find out next week. The value is assessed by a surveyor. In my case, I chose 75% loan to value, which means my mortgage will be 75% of whatever the value says it's worth. Assuming that's the valuation, 75% of this will be the mortgage. So now I'm going to multiply this figure by 0.75. That equals to £105,000, which I think is absolutely amazing. Now let me tell you why. And that means the bank will give me back £105,000 to pay back the money that my granny gave me. But I only spent £92,000. If I need to give granny back the £92,000, what will happen to the other money? Boom, I get to keep it. But how much do I get to keep? What we need to do is back to the calculator, do 105, take away 92,000, and there's the calculations. And that's amazing. I get to get £13,000 and I put no money into this. And what's even better, because it's a loan, there's 0 tax. Many young people would work full-time all year to get £13,000, and I just got it instantly off my first property. How amazing is that? But it doesn't just end there. I'll have rent, so I'll get money every single month. My expert letting agent has told me it's going to be £850 a month, which is absolutely amazing. But what costs have I got? The first and biggest cost is the mortgage. I'll have to check the paperwork, but from memory it's a 2.8 interest only mortgage. So at the start we need to put £105,000 in, which is the mortgage. Now I need to multiply the mortgage by 0.028, which is the 2.8%. Oh no, it's 2,940, but my rent is only 850. This doesn't work. Property investment's a nightmare. I'm off to see my dad. Turns out it was all okay. The mortgage was a full year. The rent was for a month. So we take the 2,940, divide it by 12, and that's how we get the monthly mortgage payment. And that's a relief. It's only £245 a month. So what else do I need to allow for? Letting agent fees, repairs, empty periods, all that together to what we call MO, which stands for monthly operating expenditure. So I know to get 20% of the mortgage to put up to all this stuff for every month. So for Mo, we're letting £170 a month. So to get the profit per month, we're going to get the rent and take it off all the costs. So it's £850 for rent, take away £245 for mortgage, and take away £170 for Mo, which is a profit per month of £435. And if I follow my dad's plan, I would have gotten £700 a month, not £850. And I'm trying not to tell him I told you so. And of course, if I want to get my annual profit, I'll just have to times my profit monthly by 12. So my annual profit from this property will be £5,220 a year. So what do you think about this? Do you think it could actually work? And how many properties do you think I'll have by the time I'm 18? So if I got 5 properties by the time I'm 18, my profits will be 5 times this number. And that equals to a big number if I had 5 properties. Did you know that's roughly the average salary of the people in the UK? I hope you enjoyed the numbers. Let's take a step outside and talk to Dad.
Okay, so that's just a little piece here to finish it up. What did you think to the young man's numbers? Did he explain it nice and clearly? I hope he did. I've really tried not to interfere at all with this project, and I've just left Jude with the team. So we own an estate agent, we own a letting agent, we've got a project management division. So Jude's just been making those decisions. So what sort of decisions have you had to make? I mean, you've never been shopping for a kitchen before, have you?
No, I've been shopping for kitchens and floors and all that type of stuff.
And why did you choose the colour of floor that you chose?
Because it's dark, it's a nice floor, it looks nice, and it's hard to stain with stuff.
Okay. And what you decided to do, what you and the team decided to do, which I wasn't sure about, but I just didn't want to interfere, was convert that. You actually knocked a wall down between the two cellars, and you've created a huge space downstairs, and you've also dug out a couple of nice light wells pits, and you've got full-size windows in the cellar, haven't you?
Yeah.
So why were you so determined to do that? Because I remember first time we actually went to see that property, do you remember that ridiculously large dog called Merlin?
Yeah.
And the previous guy said he was going to refurbish it, but he hadn't refurbished it. Well, he'd wrecked it, really, hadn't he?
Yeah.
So what did you think as we walked in that very first day? I mean, did you ever think you'd actually buy it? And you'd actually, because I don't know whether you know this or not, but as well as making money out of it, you've actually done something very important. You've actually provided an extra home for a family. And there's 250,000 families, there's 250,000 people in the UK, roughly 100,000 families, that haven't got a permanent home. Does it make you feel good to have created a home, a nice home for someone to live in?
It makes me feel better, yeah.
So, okay. What was the most difficult decision for you to make during the project?
To knock down the cellar or not.
Yeah, that was the biggest financial decision, I guess. I mean, now that you've done your first property at the age of 12, why do you think some people just never get into property investment? What is it that stops them?
Because they see all these big numbers and they don't actually do the working out to see how much money they'll get back.
So what do you think is actually the most important thing to you? Or what was the most important thing that enabled you to become a property investor?
You guys.
Well, not just me, is it? I mean, your mum's a property investor, Jack, Ben, Becky, they're all property investors, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's just kind of normal for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Do you think you actually ever do a job? Do you think you actually ever work for someone else?
Maybe. Not planning to, though.
Not planning to. So what are you planning to do? How do you want to spend your life?
I want to spend it without too much work, but, you know, helping other people out at the way.
That sounds good. Sounds good. And you said right at the start of this that your plan is to be a property investor. But, I mean, property investment's not going to take up all your time, is it?
No.
Maybe, I don't know, go mad, say, a day a week or something. What are you going to do with the rest of your life? I know that's a big question, by the way, and he's 12 before you start judging whatever he's going to say. And I know I changed my mind about 27 times between the age of 12 and 13, never mind between the age of 12 and 21, but anyway.
I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do, really.
Where are you going to live?
In Scotland, maybe.
Scotland? Is there anywhere in the world you think you couldn't live?
America.
Why?
Don't know, I just don't like it, really.
Sorry to all you Americans out there. But that's fine, isn't it? But what he didn't say is, oh no, I couldn't live in the Bahamas or Barbados because it's too expensive. I've got total confidence that this young man will live wherever he wants to live. You know, maybe at some point he'll meet someone, start a family, I don't know. But I think it's fantastically important as a parent to make sure that your children have got choices and they've got the confidence to take those choices. So let's wrap up this special edition of Money Matters. And thank you, Jude. Well done on your first presentation job. You need to get a stiffer handshake there. That's a bit limp. Okay, so let's introduce you to Jude's bigger brother, his middle brother, Ben. Because Ben is going to take the baton. When the money comes back out and Granny's money gets recycled, it's Ben's turn next, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what do you think Ben's going to do? Do you think he's going to do a good job?
Yeah.
He's done it before, hasn't he? So should be all right. So let's just see if we can get him on a video call or whatever, because we're down here in the south of France and Ben's in Scotland. So hopefully the technology works and we can record a bit of footage for you. Let's go and see Ben. So, hello Ben, how you doing?
Very well, thanks. Very well, thanks. Good to be chatting to you.
Yeah, technology is a wonderful thing, isn't it? We're down here in the south of France and you're up there in sunny Scotland. What you got, same
Yeah.
23 centigrade?
Not quite. Probably about half that at the moment, to be honest.
What do you think to the little man's project?
Really impressive stuff. Yeah, I mean, I think obviously one of the most impressive parts that you ran through with me was that Jude took the lead. He looked to put in a fourth bedroom instead of just three. So yeah, really, really cool. Good work.
Well, we just added everything together. Or Jude just showed everybody on in YouTube land. It's all up costs, including everything. He kept it dead simple. So into the refurb, he put stamp duty, all the fees and legals and everything. And it's £42,000 he spent in total, plus a few pennies. 50 grand to buy it. So it's £92,000. And what do you reckon it's going to revalue for?
Revalue 140 maybe.
140.
Nice.
A cheeky little 75% mortgage on it.
Yeah.
All of Granny's cash back, and with an extra £13,000 for his nibs to keep.
Not half bad, is it?
And he's just told YouTube that by the time he's 18, he wants 5 of these. Each of these properties making about £5.5 grand or something like that. So at the age of 18, his target income from his property is 26, 27 grand a year. Do you think most people can live on 26, 27 grand a year?
I think most people could manage. I think that'd be all right. Yeah.
I mean, given it's the average salary. So I put a little post on Facebook last week or whatever, because obviously you and Jude are one of 6. This pot of cash is for whichever sibling wants it next. So you put your hand up, didn't you, and said, I'll have a shot.
Yeah, that's an opportunity for sure.
So where are you sitting, by the way? You're sitting
in my living room.
Yeah. And what age were you when you bought that flat?
21, I was.
Yeah. And you're 22 now?
24.
24? Okay. I lose track. Good job. I've got people around the place that can. And your flat, it's gone up in value a few quid since you bought it, hasn't it?
About 10%, yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Let's say there's £92,000 to play with. What sort of project you got in your mind, Ben?
What we've been looking at, where we are in Scotland here, there's actually quite a lot of different projects we could be looking at. You often find that there's semis or terraced houses in the region of 60 to 90. You actually get quite a lot for your money there. Now, obviously, if you could buy in at something like that in that region, I'd imagine there's a huge amount of work you could do, whether it be adding an extra bedroom, just touching it up, making it nicer, to increase the value significantly. So I'd say there's a good few options, but potentially even flats, we're looking at maybe 35 to 40k purchase. So there's actually a huge amount of opportunity just over where we are.
Okay, well, Jude's value is going in, I think it's next week. So I'd imagine the money will be back out again in, say, a month's time. So where are we now? End of March, so probably end of April. So, I mean, you should be out there looking now, because by the time you get an offer accepted, whatever, the money will be in place to do whatever you want to do. So,
yeah.
I mean, you're interested in maybe doing what Jack's doing? I mean, maybe buy a place that you two could move into and then maybe keep your flat and rent it out, or what?
Yeah, I think both are good options. I mean, this is lovely where we are now, but extra room's never a bad thing. So I think there's lots of options there. But one thing that I definitely would want to do moving on and picking up extra property is to hold the property that I already have. Just as you said, whether we take more money out of it, whether we put it as an SA, whether we let it out, there's just so many options there. And obviously, one of the key goals for me is to compound wealth, build investments, and keep cash flow coming from as many angles as I can. So that's the goal.
Yeah. So who do you work for?
Me. I work for me.
Is that the best kind of boss to have?
Yeah, I'm an all right boss, I think.
Yeah, all right. So, I mean, if you did want a bigger house for you guys, you're obviously going to be able to put a higher loan to value on you. So you could get more money out that way. But what age were you so Jack moved house, kept his flat in Wallace Street, and you started managing it as an SA unit for him, didn't you? Service accommodation unit, for anyone who doesn't know.
Yeah. So what is the service accommodation unit, did you say? Sorry.
Well, what is it, and at what age did you start managing Jack's SA for him?
So I think when we formed the company together, I was 18. And the SA unit that we had on is obviously Jack's old flat at that time. It was still his flat, he still owned it, but obviously we were switching use. And essentially the service accommodation unit is on a nightly rate, and we accept people from all over the world. We've had people from as far away as America, China, Australia. They come over to see Loch Lomond, and it's a really beautiful flat. It's a nice big 2-bed. And essentially, the key difference there is that we can let it out by the night, which probably makes 3 to 4 times what it would do if it was just on a standard let.
Yeah. And I've always loved that flat. You come out the door, I mean, you're in the middle of everything. I know you and Jack like the fact it's next to Frankie and Benny's, Domino's, whatever, don't you?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt.
Doesn't hurt. Plus you got a big Asda and all that, haven't you? If you turn to the left, you got Dumbarton Castle. You can see it right from the front doorstep, can't you?
Yeah, gorgeous.
So I asked Jude this question earlier on. Why do you think Becky bought her first house at 23, Jack bought his first flat at 20, you bought your first house at 21, and Jude's now done it at 12? How the hell did that happen?
I think it just happens because know-how. We know that we can. We're in the right position. We have the right information. I think a lot of it is just knowing what you have to do and how to do it. And obviously, a lot of it helps from setting yourself up financially, making sure that you know what moves to make and when. But I think in large part, it's just honestly knowing that you can and that you want to. And I think it's just a vision thing. It's a mindset thing.
Well, I 110% agree with that. It is mindset, and it's the network you're in, and your family network, the children, our children. You're all doing amazing things in all sorts of different ways. So
thank you.
And I know you and Jack are particularly close, and Jack's got an amazing business, hasn't he?
Yeah, really significant.
So property's not even his main thing. He's just got fantastic. So you're all entrepreneurs, you all own property. It's just absolutely fantastic to see. So
thank you.
What advice would you have, just as we wrap this, Ben, for all the people that want to do? I'm going to ask both of you this question. For all the people that want to do property, and I always ask this on a webinar or on Wealth Through Property or wherever. I often ask people, how long have you wanted to be a property investor for? And it's like 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, too long. I mean, if someone's wanted to be a property investor for 10, 20 years and they haven't done it, what advice would you give them?
I guess the one reason that they haven't done it most of the time is because they just don't know how. So my very single piece of advice would be go and learn how. And in addition to that, believe in yourself that you can go and do something like that. Because I think self-doubt and in-education are the two biggest things that stop us from doing anything.
Yeah. All right. Top advice. Get educated and then find someone with a pair of size 11s to kick your backside and make you do it.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, more or less.
Or in your case, size 13s, whatever they are.
That's the ticket.
That's the ticket, yeah. It's Ben's shoes look a bit like two canoes, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's catching you up. He's
getting close.
Well, you're the same height as Jenny now, aren't you? So he's, you hear that? It says he's a bit taller.
A bit taller.
So he's probably about 5'9" now. So
nice. Not far off. I'm 6'2", so a few inches to go yet, but we'll see.
We'll give him a chance.
We'll see.
We're feeding him up. Oh, I asked him earlier on, you didn't hear it. I asked him earlier on, where are you going to live when, like, you're an adult and stuff? Where are you going to live when you're an adult?
Scotland.
That's a good choice. Not a bad choice.
Glaswegian. He was born in.
Yeah, it's beautiful up here.
It is. Oh, I love it. That's why we've kept the house up there. Have you seen the bookings that we've got for Dunera for this summer? The old family house.
Yeah, phenomenal.
It's just insane.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be good. So in 1 month, I reckon Dunera as a service accommodation, and okay, for anyone who doesn't know, it's an 8-bed. My projection is it's going to make a £22,000 profit in 1 month, and that's completely hands-free. And that, I don't know, I guess you know this, but that's your big sister managing it now, Becky. So we've got her looking after all of our Scottish property.
Nice.
So, last word for Jude. This is Jude's Money Matters special edition. What advice would you give to anyone that wants to be a property investor but hasn't done it? And let's say, I mean, you couldn't possibly have wanted to be a property investor for 20 years because you're 12, but so I know you're a bit unusual in that regard. So what would your advice be if someone sat there thinking, Jesus Christ, I'm embarrassed as hell, this 12-year-old's done it and I haven't done it yet? What advice would you give them?
I mean, it's kind of the same as Ben, but if they actually see the video and just haven't done it and they see a 12-year-old, just do it. Like, you know how to do it because they can see you and go online and search up. So just do it.
Just do it. There you are. Nike, just do it. So you've only got an excuse if you're 11 or younger. The only reason you shouldn't do this is if you're at primary school. And even then, I bet you probably could if you had the right support network. Thanks, boys. Good speaking to you both.
All right.
See you down here in the summer, I hope.
I'm very sure you will. I'm sure you will. Take care. Speak to you soon.
See you later. Okay, so that's a wrap for this week's edition of Money Matters. So you've met the wonderful little Jude, you've met his big brother Ben, and I'm sure over time you'll probably meet all 6 of my wonderful children. So what did you think of Jude and what Jude's done? I mean, I just think it's absolutely amazing. And I want to say thank you on Jude's behalf to the wonderful team at Diamond Estates, to the project team in Gap. You've helped him do an absolutely amazing job. And I'm really, really pleased that he's been so actively involved in, all those decisions. So it's been fantastic learning for him. And I hope everybody out there in internet land and YouTube land enjoys the video. And if it can encourage, just even a few people to go out and do property that wouldn't otherwise have done it, I'm so proud of, well, all of my children, but in this particular case, my wonderful 12-year-old Jude. And if you're thinking, well, I'd like to get my kids into property, or why don't I do that? Or it is simple, it is child's play. Then the first step, you heard what the boys said, is to get yourself educated. And the best place to do that, in my view, is to click on the link that's just below the video and reserve yourself a place at Wealth Through Property. So Ben's done it quite a few times, Jude's done it. So click on that link and come and spend 2 days with myself, the Touchstone team. And one day, maybe, if you want to, you can live somewhere like this, or like 2 of my boys do, and by the sound of it, the 3rd boy, Scotland. Wherever you want to live, because it's all about choices. I want you to be wealthy through property so that you can have the choices that my family's got. I'm going to end as I always end, but please, 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 if you actually want to do this, click on that link and get yourself a ticket to Wealth Through Property. It's 2 days, it's online, there's no travel, no accommodation, completely safe. Just do it. As always, you've been wonderful, I've been Paul, and I will see you next time.